As soon as the joint president stepped out of the house, he sensed something was wrong, and sure enough, he spotted a large group of assassins appearing. Fortunately, the woman was an excellent shot, taking down several people in an instant. However, while she was reloading, an injured Sasha managed to rush at her, but the woman decisively took him down. She then fired a few more shots at him. Suddenly, a car appeared out of nowhere and slammed into the woman, sending her flying. A killer got out of the car and walked straight toward the injured woman. At that moment, the president nearby called out to him, and when the killer saw that the president's limbs were weak, he didn't expect the president to actually pull the trigger. Just as he helped the woman up from the ground, a large group of killers rushed over. It seemed there was no way for them to escape this time. The president sensibly put down his weapon. At that moment, another killer circled behind them and knocked the woman unconscious. When she woke up again, she found her hands had been tied and suspended in the air, and a fierce-looking man was walking toward her. He then leered at her up and down in a sleazy manner. However, the man seemed to have no idea who she really was. The woman was far from ordinary. Her name was Ellie, the youngest major in the President's Special Task Force. Highly skilled in martial arts, she could easily take on 2 Special Forces soldiers by herself, finishing the fight in under a minute if nothing unexpected happened. Her impressive abilities gratified Uncle Sam, who watched from the side. Soon, she officially started working at the presidential residence. When Ellie met the president for the first time, she was still a bit nervous, but as with all newcomers, her job began with delivering desserts. However, she never expected her first real assignment to come so quickly. Because a member of the special task force had taken leave, Uncle Sam arranged for her to fill in. The next day, she boarded Air Force One, responsible for the president's security. This was completely unexpected for Ellie, but what she didn't know was that Air Force One, armed to the teeth, was being watched by a foreign force. It turned out that a general from another country believed his own president had sold oil to the United States. Such actions were seen as a betrayal of the country, so the general directly killed the president's secretary and planned a retaliatory operation against the soon-to-arrive Air Force One. He first sent an assassin to target a member of the president's special task force, and through this person's computer, the general immediately hacked into the US satellite network. Then, the assassin found another accompanying staff member and threatened him with a gun, forcing him to call in sick to his superior. Out of concern for his family's safety, he had no choice but to make the call. However, the assassin still didn't let them go. The general's plan was to ensure his undercover agent could successfully infiltrate Air Force One. Of course, the president was completely unaware of all this. Soon, he arrived at the airport right on time. Meanwhile, Ellie was excitedly watching everything, completely unaware that danger was quietly approaching. At this moment, the president had already boarded the plane. After passing through the large group of accompanying personnel, he also noticed Ellie, who was boarding for the first time, and gave her a smile before being escorted by the Secret Service to his room. While everyone was making pre-flight preparations, the assassins had already begun their operation. As the plane took off smoothly, the 2 pilots were shot and killed by the spies, and the news that the plane had been taken over was immediately reported to the general. Thus, a thrilling battle at 10,000 meters above the ground was about to begin. First, Sam, the head of the special task force, noticed something unusual. Their network had unexpectedly gone down. Soon after, the president's interview was interrupted and the general's voice came through. The other side made it clear to the president that their plane had been hijacked. Before the words had even faded, Sam immediately began making arrangements, and the president was quickly escorted to the safe room. At the same time, members of the special task force started to be assassinated one after another, and the killers who had infiltrated the entourage revealed their true identities. After taking control of the entourage, they quickly fastened their seatbelts as instructed by the pilot. The plane then began to spin in the air, causing the special task force members to suffer greatly, and Sam's leg was injured as well. Although the plane had deviated from its normal flight path, it still appeared normal on the radar at the US military base. Clearly, the general had tampered with the system. In order to force the president out of the safe room, the assassins threatened the lives of the entourage. With no other choice, the president really did come to the cabin, but what he never expected was the 2 security personnel behind him were killed without putting up any resistance. Left with no other option, the president could only return to his room as they demanded. Immediately, the general began a conversation with him, asking the president to hold another press conference. Because you absolutely must announce from Air Force One that you are definitively pulling out of your significant deal with this utterly fake president, and you will clearly state that you can fully realize this important decision.